Well, today you're probably seeing the purple vestments, violet, and you're like, what's that about? And again, it is in the United States, it is a day of prayer for the legal protection of unborn children. In our diocese, this day is also being remembered as a day of prayer for human rights and equality. And so, just to realize that there's obviously legal ground that has been gained in legally protecting human life from conception to natural death. Think of the Dobbs case, for example, but there is a lot more ground to be gained. And the Catholic Church is, absolutely committed, completely committed to building a culture and fostering a culture that respects and protects every human life from the moment of conception to natural death. We believe that at the moment of conception is basically when the soul is created by God, right? That we're more than meat and bones, that we also have soul as well, that God is responsible for. And, to say that about natural death is important. Not all Catholics realize that the Church is very much against capital punishment for almost every situation, right? Almost all situations, capital punishment is wrong. And that is something that is clear and we understand today. And so today we're asked to pray and do penance for the full restoration of the legal guarantee of the right to life. And we're asked to do penances as we feel that we are called to, as we can prudentially do them, and for violations of the dignity of the human person committed through acts of abortion. One of the things that we don't always think about is if life, the right to life, is not protected from the very beginning, then what other rights matter? What gives any of us the right to say that person doesn't deserve to live? What gives the government the right to say that person doesn't deserve to live? It's pretty obvious, right, for us who are adults here, that there is no one in the world with less power and less influence and ability to defend themselves than an unborn child. Everyone hearing this homily has been born. We've been raised. We're hearing this homily, and the unborn child's entire future clearly depends on the attitudes, views, culture, and circumstances of his or her parents. And it is really the role of the church, it's the role also of society at large, certainly of governmental organizations, to support and foster life from its very beginning, no matter the circumstances. Violence, sexual violence, for example, as tragic as that is, doesn't give us the right to execute a child. And it doesn't help the person heal, typically, in those situations. It is not a healing act. According to the Guttmacher Institute, there's about one abortion every 37 seconds in the United States. There have been over 61.8 million abortions since 1973. They have trended down a little bit. Sometimes they go up and down each year. Today, many of them are chemical abortions, but there are different ones that are used. And many people view abortion as an ugly yet necessary reality. Pro-life groups will run all these surveys and make it seem like, almost all Americans or 60% of Americans are against legalized abortion. But the actual facts of medical providers tell a completely different story. If you actually look up, who's getting them, religious groups are hugely represented. Yeah, Christian blends, Christian denominations are hugely represented. Hugely represented. And so, to realize that even though there are many people that view abortion as kind of a success and a triumph of health, there are also a lot of us that don't necessarily affirm it politically or socially, but again, practicing it's completely a reality. And so that's a battle. That reflects the battle in our own hearts, right? I love what the author of the Gulag Archipelago said. I have a hard time pronouncing his name. But he said that it'd be great if we could take, evil and bad people and put them over here and destroy those bad people and put the good people over here. The truth is that the line between good and evil slices through every single one of our hearts. All of us have good and evil. And obviously, I am not here to demonize anyone. Many, many people have chosen abortion. And then they have, through God's grace, come back and repented and said, Lord, I want to do better. I'm sorry, even that I would hope to meet my child one day in heaven, that I would be able to, and that I'm going to take the rest of my life and I'm going to try to make amends and do better. But again, it is absolutely our responsibility as Catholics to affirm and support the culture of life. And it is our responsibility when it comes to voting as well. It is a grave responsibility for us. Grave means serious. To know how a Catholic votes so that when we're exercising that political responsibility, that we are confident that we're doing that in a Catholic way and that we are respecting what our faith teaches and believes. Many of us aren't aware of that, right? We aren't necessarily aware of that. And so kind of looking at our gospel today and, we see this striking reading, right? That Jesus says that he takes a teaching moment here because the religious leaders are saying that he's possessed and that he's driving out the power of one demon with a greater demon, essentially. That's what they're saying. And I've always thought Jesus' response here was quite interesting because he kind of just lets some of it slide, but he says that, to call the Son of God a demonic force is sacrilege. It's sacrilege, right? Because you're calling the all-holy satanic. And this might be a little challenging when we treat human life as a commodity, as I have good reasons to take this life or whatever, And when fathers and husbands don't support the women that they have, they bring life into the world and they just step away from the situation, right? All that we make ourselves God. And then we treat something that is sacred, which is human life, as common, as something that is not worthy of our attention or protection. The line between good and evil slices directly through the human heart. Every one of us are a mixture of good and evil. And so my prayer is as we have this day today and we remember the need to pray for legal protection, for unborn life, and also for justice, and that all races, all ethnic groups will get along with each other, that we pray that the Lord will bless our country, help us to turn away from our addiction to abortion, to turn toward chastity, holiness, purity, and that we will begin to truly live out the gospel of Christ in discipleship.